Don't mind me, I'm just finishing, well, breakfast. Oh. Yeah, I need to change my title there just a little bit. Okay. I'll just finish getting my settings here. I'm running late. Slept like crap, really. Yeah, we just had 95-degree heat here in Montana. And unfortunately, I got a low heat tolerance, and heat kind of makes me sick. And we also got a 2-story house, so the upper story unfortunately has my room. And that wouldn't be a bad thing normally, except for that's where heat rises. So, real pain in the butt, but didn't have a choice. I tried sleeping downstairs, but I've got a roommate here who is unfortunately obsessed with sleeping on me. And she is 11 pounds of chubby cat. And I don't like, and I haven't had a cat sleeping on me during bedtime for like 20-something years. And it's very uncomfortable now. I used to not mind it when I was much younger, but now, So, start things off. This is a Toon Fortress Toon stream, and I'm doing things a little differently. So this will be the next short tune I do. This is going to probably be a 30-second tune of some kind. Not as intricate as Dungeons and Debt, but I think it'll do. So what I'm doing here is I'm cannibalizing some of the colors I used for this, because I do have a TF2 color template, but I'm kind of finding I don't like it. It's just not as vibrant or lush. And unfortunately, if you're like me, there we go, I'm just steel red here. So the first step is to cannibalize a few colors. So we have skin tone, shading, and we have red, red shading. Oh, that's not red shading. That's red shading. And we need some brown. Let's see. Oh. And then metal. Metal shading. I will need some blue later on, because as in all things Toon Fortress, it's red versus blue. So this is the very crude color palette. And if you're like me, I can't choose colors properly. They always kind of come out kind of crappy, or washed out, or faded, and they might look fine to me for a little while, but they don't age well. Everything looks faded. So what I'm doing here is these are all my colors. And even though I don't think I'm going to need the parchment color, I'm going to just play it safe anyways, because you never know. But there we go. So we'll just get rid of red there. And before I do anything, I do need some blue. So the purpose of part of this stream is something I was contemplating the other day, and that is actually showing how long it takes to animate a whole toon of in some form. So let's see, I need to get my blue. There we are. There's one. Actually, that's better for dark, because I need the more faded look. Two. So I've been thinking over, you know, it's possible to do beginning and end. Maybe a 30-second short toon, and yeah, that is still an awful lot of animation to do. Especially since I work without storyboards and I have to make stuff up as I go in my head. But I haven't done a Toon Fortress toon this year. I had one maybe about a third of the way done, and then I realized the idea just didn't work. I was going to call it Quarantine. And the idea for that toon was the scoot was going to spawn from server to server and find every server is empty. But she starts encountering the cutouts that are used for target practice in tutorial mode. And they've all become sentient, and they kind of go after her, and it all turns out that the cutouts are like drones. Oh, I need some green too. So the cutouts are drones, and the whole thing is really a security precaution done by the medic and the engineer, where they found the cure for COVID. And the cure is the Scoot's brains. And rather than actually wait for them to synthesize anything, I was going to just end the toon with the soldier blowing her head off and then just eating her brains off the ground. It was very strange. And while there's stuff in the idea I liked, it just wasn't very lively. I just needed to have a grass or a green color template there. I think that should be everything. So step one for doing any toon, and this applies to filmmaking as well as animation. You need your establishing shot, and your establishing shot just shows the setting. You always show the setting off first rather than what the characters are doing. You know, it establishes a place and time. So what I'm looking at doing for this one is very crude, and I'm not too happy with the idea, but I'm still gonna stick with it. So we're gonna start off with the sniper popping up from a grassy field So, okay. And I don't know if I might end up redoing this later, depending on how obsessed I get with it, because Jesus, that looks flat. Yeah, this is always where I struggle. It's always the start of of doing a new tune that I kind of fumble with, but I'm only going to be working on this for part of the stream. So first off, I need to choose the correct size here, because you can see how nice and slender that is, as opposed to this being a little bit thicker. So I'm trying to sort this out. There is a stylistic choice that I'm trying to make here. And since I'm not happy with anything, and then I just remembered how deserty TF2 is, even though I'm trying to maintain a form of minimalism. There. Oops. Might actually help if I had some borders here. Whew. Okay. First things first. What do you know, I did end up using the parchment color template. So you can see here it's just two different colors. Not very vibrant, but because Toon Fortress is meant to have a sort of minimalism to it, to create the illusion of there being some detail, I always do stuff like this. Because now it kind of looks like there's something else going on there. But yeah, I tried studying the templates for the Team Fortress 2 backgrounds and textures and things like that, looking for patterns and just seeing if there might have been a shortcut I could take. And I never found anything. I was always kind of irritated at that, because it always feels nice when you can catch a pattern of some kind of a graphic and then mimic it for your own parodies and stuff like that. But no, minimalization of background details is a great way to save time. It also has a nice stylistic feel to it. So in my case, I like to take L shapes like this. And you can see now it's a little less flat, even though it's just two separate colors. But everything is also still a little too big. So what you do is you go a little smaller. Oh, and I gotta save this too. There. And now we have a very rough looking deserty rock. And I'm sure I could spend all day putting in all kinds of funny little details to make this look better. But that's just not something I want to do, because I need to get a tune done fast. Not that I don't want to put the time in there, it's just Dungeons and Debt took an extra almost week to finish off, because I was starting to burn out. And it's always a pain in the ass when you start burning out. Because I'm used to getting stuff done moderately fast and efficient. And I don't like it when I burn out. So, granted, the the heat that's been building up over here really hasn't been helping. Oh God, it's been, yesterday was really freaking horrible. But there we go. So we've got just a crude bit of shading to create some texture here. And then the very last thing I'm going to do to this, outside of adjust this. Here we go. So the last thing I'm going to do is, because two colors isn't always enough, you take that third bit and then you just do this. You add just a little bit of something here and a little bit there. And you can see it's still not perfect, but the way to get around that is slender lines. And then you can create just a little bit of depth to what you got there. Getting that little tiny bit of extra detail. So if I do a little bit there, a little bit over here. Maybe if I remember to keep the right color, thank you. A little bit of detail over here. And you are set. It's, again, not perfect. The idea is to create just a little bit there. Because now, instead of it being mostly flat looking, it kind of looks like there's a hint of texture to it. Texture is very important in animation, because even if you just put a hint of it, that's all audiences generally need. But I still like to try and sneak in a little bit more. But so you can see right here now, all of a sudden we've got just a little bit there and a little bit there. Everything is standing out some. But the problem also is it's still real flat looking. There isn't much to it. So I will show how to get around that in just a moment once I get a little bit more texture. Because the idea is, this is a rocky formation. So, okay. Here's our tiny little bit of texture here. Still not perfect. I will most likely have to add some there and some there. But the idea behind this is you create just enough of this so it looks like, oh, damn it, flash problem. So it looks like it's a little rigid. And then you do this. You take your line tool, there's one, you put that right there, and there's two. So now all of a sudden you can see it looks almost like there's lighting hitting it now. And so one of the things one of the shapes I always enjoy making are, these are essentially Lego shapes, is you do a little something like that, and then you add just a little bit of right there, right there, right there, because I enjoy cubism. There we go. Now you can see how this little section right there stands out more than everything else here. And so you just do a little bit more. Oh, come on, Flash. Stop being an asshole. Flash is going to be an asshole. Lovely. So you find these odd little, you do odd little shapes like this, and then you can create that texture illusion. And yes, it's all still very lazy, and this will take a little bit more time than I wanted, but I want to get a chunk of this down. And there we go. Look at that. there's still a lot of blank areas here, and I'm second guessing myself. Just a little bit. And when I start second guessing myself, I end up doing a little copy and pasting just to try and create a little more detail here and a little bit more detail there. But essentially this shot is going to be very simple. Once I finish getting the last of the crude texture here, I'll add in a little bit, I'll add in a blue sky, and then we'll have the sniper pop his head up from behind the rocks. And then we're set. That pops his head up over the rocks and sees his targets. What those targets are going to be, I have no idea outside of the demo, the scoot, and the pyro. So we just add a little bit more texture here, a little bit more there. And it's a bunch of little things. That's always something, that's always the funny thing about animation, because in a lot of ways, that's all it is. It's creating a dozen or so little things to create the bigger picture. God damn it, Flash. Stop fucking around. Yeah, the heat from the other day has fried my brain, so my line tool accuracy is off today. It's been a real stressful 6 weeks. No. It's been 2 months of stress on my end, just in my personal life. Trying to keep your father from dying. Ugh. Yeah. Outside of doing all this animation and stuff, I've been kind of trying to take care of my father, because it's his health that's taken some hits. And some of that stuff is his own fault for procrastinating, ignoring, or just not telling me that something's feeling off. And then, so I'm doing my best to pick up the pieces. I'm only human, and I'm not a medical professional, sadly. So I can only do caretaker stuff, like I used to with my grandfather and my grandmother. It's been kind of a, what's the word? I don't want to say clusterfuck, but I can't think of a more appropriate term off the top of my head. So let's see, I need to just do a hint more detail here. Just all this stuff here is good to create the illusion that there's more going on. But yeah, this is where minimalism gets to be kind of a chore, because even though I'm putting all this time and effort into this shot, god damn it, this is going to drive me crazy. Let me change the size of my ink bottle tool. Properties. Set down to 1. But I'm doing my best to juggle 6 different things at once. And the heat has not made things easy. Yeah, trying to help somebody who isn't helping themselves is never easy. And from what I've learned from doing caretaking, you can only help someone if they're willing to help themselves. And some people aren't always willing to do that because they either think they know better or they think the problem will go away on its own, and it doesn't. And what it really does is it makes everyone else worry and all that shit, and then everyone else who's involved has to try and pick up the pieces and help out, and sometimes it's too late. I'm sitting here hoping it's not too late, even though I'm pretty sure. I think it is. I think, pretty sure my father has damaged himself somehow because he keeps pushing shit aside. So now I've got to do what I can with what's left. So, everybody whose father is not in the condition mine's in, make sure you give them a hug. Assuming they're in your lives, that is, you know. Okay. Well, look at that, we're just about halfway done. I just need to stretch things out just a little bit further down here. Like I said, I like cubism a lot. Art Deco is kind of nice too. The simplicity of it all is always kind of interesting. The old Batman the Animated Series did a lot of this. Even though I'm nowhere on the level that the animation team they had way back when. I'm nowhere near their skill level. I'm getting a little bit closer. Here we are. Yeah, minimalism is something I'm still learning, so the idea the idea is this is supposed to save time. And there's one thing else I have to do. I need a border like that. Boom. And because I still want to create just a little bit more of the illusion that this rocky wall here is jagged, I do this, and so you pick out a few top pieces like here. You take your darker color and you do a little bit of that. Preferably you do all of it. Okay, I didn't think that was going to work. I'll fuss with that later. Need this to be just a little bit more jagged. Okay. So because I don't want to spend all day doing this, we're going to go use the ink tool and create just a few more of these outlines right here. I usually save doing this until later. I didn't quite want all of that there though, but the idea is to, again, create the illusion of depth and texture, and so far that's pretty good. And because I'm not happy with how long this is taking, because, you know, I'm talking about what I'm doing while I'm doing it also, I'm gonna do something even lazier than what I just did. And if you've seen my streams, you'll know what I'm talking about, because for the most part this is all simple web animation stuff. Now when I try and do stuff that's a bit more detailed, I do this also from time to time. A lot of it comes down to time management because there's only so many hours in a day. So I'm going to chop off half of my texture. Copy and paste. Boom. So now this is done, right? Not quite. Because I don't want it to look like it's an identical copy and paste. I will sometimes distort the image like that. Or sometimes I will do this. So you can see these are perfectly even up until I start doing stuff like this. Because now neither side is identical once you start making some changes to one of the sides. It is a way to get a little bit more done in less time. You know, more, go away, more laziness on behalf of me, the animator. And even though I know not everybody is going to sit back and judge it, I still like to try and put a little bit of more effort into it so it never comes across as a complete copy and paste. So I do this and just add in some extra bits of shading detail here, or sometimes I will do stuff like that, or this, and you just stretch it out, contort it just a little bit so it doesn't match up. And now it kind of looks like there's a little bit more going on than just your usual copy and paste. Now the one thing I can't get away with are the more detailed areas. But I'm not going to fuss about that or fight with it. Because the idea is still very much, oops, you don't want to spend all day doing it for a shot that isn't that intricate, because you want to save that time on bigger shots, because there's some stuff that will just take forever and a day to do. No matter how good you are, it's just, that's the nature of the beast and the craft. So there we go. And the last thing to do is to take... Yeah, I'm really second guessing myself here. I think I was too lazy with some of this. Damn it. Yeah, if I hadn't mentioned previously that the heat had fried my brain from yesterday on, I'm feeling those effects right now because this is just... Ugh. I think this is just too basic. Because I really want to be better at this, but I'm getting to the point where I'm realizing sometimes I can't stylize my way out of everything, so fuck it. Let's just do this. So when I did the crystals in Dungeons and Debt, I just took a very simple shape, which is pretty much this shape or this shape. And so I'm going to repeat a little bit of that. God damn it. Oh, like I said, I get sick when it gets really hot. And in this case, it's really affecting my judgment on stuff, and now I'm getting paranoid. Damn it, now I'm overly paranoid, so I think I'm gonna... Sorry guys, I can't do Toon Fortress. My head isn't clear. I will just have to do something else for a little bit. Just for a little bit anyways. So I did this yesterday. This is the first shot for Dungeons in Debt episode 2. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this yet. The idea is to start episode 2 off over in the guild, and so this is where this is the collector's office, and so I've got my oh yeah, and this is Red's new design. So she has lost all her equipment and her gear. So she is down to just kind of a leather, got a leather corset, cloth dress. Save some time. I was gonna give her some boots with heels, and then I couldn't get the design to work. So I just gave her sandals like what Joy has, with the exception of straps there. And she's got a leather hairband right there, and then these are her weapons. She just has a tiny little short sword, and this is essentially a gauntlet. This is a gauntlet with a blade at the tip. The idea is it's kind of like a shield. I'm probably going to end up redoing the design just a little bit because I think I can do a little bit better. The idea is this is going to be curved, and then we just have one blade like that. So she's essentially got two piercing weapons. But yeah, this would essentially be her casual clothes. But Red is in debt right now, and so I've got my this is the establishing shot I mentioned earlier, and there's the lighting. So everything just looks a little bit more sinister now. I've got to adjust his file shelf over here a little bit. Because I wanted to make this look a little bit more like an office. So, get out of here, Red. So 75. Oh, go away. So I've still got some details in here I got to add in because while I've got the lighting, this is a painting. I think I'm going to have to add in. I've got a lot of bare spots in here that I need to make it look a little bit more lived in. But the average collector office is supposed to be kind kind of something simple like this. So he's got his file cabinets, he's got his desk, he's got his documents. And I was going to give him a really sinister, foreboding desk. And I didn't have any ideas for how to make that work. So I just stuck to simplicity, where now it's just kind of a cool looking desk. So, as is the structure on this episode, it starts off with a very brief setup. So in this case, Red is kind of in there, and he's going over her files and paperwork, and she's told how much she owes, and essentially she's got to go on janitorial jobs for the guild. So a janitorial job is going out hunting goblins and clearing out a cave. And she makes a little bit of money and pays off her debt that way. Because it kind of felt right to just have things be simplistic like that. But I ended up redoing the collector's design twice, because the first design I had for him was a little too mundane. Because essentially he's, a teller at a bank in a lot of ways. But the idea is to, keep some of the more fantasy flavor. But yeah, I'd probably have a lot more interesting things to say and a little bit more energy if the weather was a little bit better and I didn't have I wasn't carrying the load that I've been carrying. Because like it or not, it'll really eat you up. So let's see. Boom. That's good. So the idea is to make the collector's office look mostly legit. So, Fallen Night Tyler. Hey, dropping before. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing so-so. Oh, Fallen Night Tyler. I'm getting there. It's just... It's been a rough 2 months. A little disappointed that Dungeons in Debt didn't do that well for the Newgrounds Pico Day competition. I think I'm... if I'm not... I'm either 11th or 12th place. And I was actually kind of hoping to be, 5th or 6th, make a few dollars. Get to tout my horn a little bit that I pulled something off. But unfortunately, I submitted the Toon a little too late. Because I'd burned myself out just a little bit by doing too much stuff. I ended up paying the price for that, and then it took me longer to finish things. So, a little upset at myself for that, but I haven't done a competition at least an animation competition in forever. Especially a Newgrounds animation competition, which is a different beast entirely. Because you never know what you're going to get or what people are really going to like. But I'm just enjoying the fact that the weather has mellowed out a little bit right now. And trying to be positive as best I can. There we are. Whew, okay, we've got a file cabinet. It's mostly correct. So, this is always the boring part about backgrounds when, in my case, because yesterday I spent a lot of time trying to make this finish this background the other day. It's so simple, but because we've had this heat wave here, I haven't been thinking as clearly. And when you can't think clearly, you don't make all the right choices. And it was real unfortunate that I wasted a lot of time trying to make stuff work that didn't the other day, but I got a little bit of stuff done. This is, even though I've got, I'm sure you can hear it, I've got the fan on right now. Oh, Red, get out of here, you're not in this shot yet. So, okay. We have a file cabinet. And because I actually really like the color scheme I have over here, I'm going to carry some of that over. But only some of it, because I'm trying to level up here. Because I learned a lot making Dungeons in Debt. And I also came across a few things I could do better. And so my line work and backgrounds and stuff like that, those still need some work. There we are. But again, like always, I'm trying to still create the illusion that there's life. Oh, wrong tool. In my toons, and I actually pulled it off pretty well. So, because the lighting from this, I'm going to adjust this some more. I would catch the edge of this. And there you can see now it almost looks like we have texture again. So here's where I'm getting lazy all over again. I'm copying and pasting and doing the same job multiple times. Need to stop doing that so much, but I'm also still trying to see what works and what doesn't. So I'm trying to think of a fancy toon to do on the side, because I'm going to do that Toon Fortress sniper toon. I just can't focus it on it today, it looks like. Because after I get a little bit of this done, I've got some sketching to do for someone's art. I mean, art for their D&D campaign. But yeah, my stream looks like I know my stream audience doesn't usually kick in until about 4 o'clock my time, so all this time I've been doing here talking to nobody. Anybody who listens to this later on, thank you. But yeah, you see right there. This is what I'm talking about. You take a look at that. Red, go away. You're not in the shot yet. If we get rid of the shading right there, this almost looks like there's actual texture here, and that's the stuff I'm talking about when it comes to creating the illusion of life to your work. And it's not always easy to do because in some cases it's all about the right color. But damn, when you get it right, even it's the simple things, it makes me happy. There we are. It's getting the simple things in life done right sometimes. It's all it takes. So first things first, I shrink the lines around this just a hair. Okay, good. And because I want to make things look just a little fancy, not much, I'm going to take what I've seen old antique file cabinets and dressers do, and so they usually have a faint little outline that's been carved in there. So now you can see that, yes, it looks very bright, a little crooked, now it's straight. And then I just copy and paste, stick this right there, and there we go. So now that I've got this done, Boy, that actually really does look good. I'm not going to put any knobs on it because I think I've got a different idea for how stuff happens, but I'm not too sure yet. So this is going to be my second Toon, animating things at a proper ratio and size, because I spent so many damn years doing stuff the wrong way for the sake of saving time, and it was a sacrifice in quality that should never have been made, but I also just got stuck with a bad habit that I never broke. There we go. You see that? That is what I'm talking about. But there's a problem with this, and I have to get rid of it all just a little bit more, because there's one thing I messed up on. Everything there was uneven, so we'll change the color to something bright. So this is my map, I guess you could say. So everything has to be lined up within these lines for it to be even. So that needs to go there, that needs to go there. Because of the angle this is at, this has to be slightly corrected. There. And I may end up having to correct that further, but here we go. Here's one. Oh, good God. Get over there. Blech. Yeah, this is the problem with the perspective here that I've got. I haven't animated in this perspective in a long time. And everything you do has to be done a certain way, so... blech. I'll take it even if it ain't perfect. And I can still adjust things slightly to compensate for this, like so. And right there. There. Oh, God damn it. It looks so good, and then up there it gets crooked. It's just the top too. Damn it. Yeah. Here I am going half-cocked, and I'm not catching mistakes because of it. Ugh. Which technically means it's just this then. Because so far my plan is, I said I wanted to do 4 episodes of Dungeons in Debt, and call that like a season. It may have to be 3 episodes, just because I keep forgetting how late in the year it is and how many other projects that I've got left to do. Because, you know, I've still got left for lull I've got to get back to. Even though I'm technically starting over from what I had, I learned so much on Dungeons in Debt. I think I can probably compensate for that, for the time lost, because I think I'm going to have to condense that one down to just a few episodes also, but yeah, so far I've had a little bit more luck doing YouTube Shorts than I expected. Whew. Okay, this is too wide at the top, and this is too crooked down there. Yeah, perspective in animation and stuff like this. This is where I trip up a lot, because I think I'll do something and it'll look perfect until I finish it and it's 5 minutes later. Ugh. Okay, that's good. This is still a little crooked. But ultimately, it's when you get this stuff done right, it makes the difference. So it's just me gonna have to learn to be a little more precise, because other animators out there I've seen, they develop interesting tools for themselves, and I'm not one of them because I don't know how to program or do stuff like that. I've never been able to. I think like at best I was able to use the old start button on Newgrounds for the when you load up a movie and it'll start playing their old play button. That was about as far as I could go because it doesn't register in my mind. Okay, I think that should be it. I've nitpicked this long enough. Let's see if, can I just correct it a little bit like that? Fuck. I can't. Damn it. Okay. I can't nitpick this any longer or else I'm going to lose my mind. Because, yeah, this is me partially stressed out because of the heat and not being able to think properly. Because this is all I really have to do. And if you can't get something as basic as this right, it kind of bruises your ego. Whew. Yeah, I think I'm probably still running on empty just a little bit in the old creative well today. And I don't like that, as I've repeated this several times. It always feels strange to not be able to create for whatever reason. Sometimes it's burnout. Sometimes it is being manic and not being able to focus because you got all that energy and that drive to do something. In my case, I think I've got a little bit of the two, but the heat has made everything worse. So, thankfully, the weather has cooled off some, and everything is kind of going down to under 85 for a few days. I'm most likely going to have to dust off my laptop and work downstairs. Peaceful Potato, hey man, I don't really watch streams in general, so I'm not going to stay long, but I want to let you know, I love your sense of humor and your animations are really good. Hope you grow big. Yeah, Peaceful Potato, I'd like to grow big too. I could use the abundance, because I don't have a lot of that in my life right now. I've got a lot of other problems that have built up. And it's not stuff that I've done, it's just life. Doing what it always does. Because if it doesn't get you, it'll get somebody around you, and then everything else you do kind of has to be focused around the one person. So I'm still trying to figure out how I used to be. I used to be a lot funnier with my writing a long time ago, and I'm not sure why. I can't seem to match what I used to do as well. I'm hoping to figure that out though, one of these days. But yeah, I can always use the encouragement, and I'm right now realizing how I can fix my perspective problem here. Yeah, it's a struggle and grind. I feel you. It can get heavy sometimes. You got to push through it and keep your eye on your goals. Yep. Uh-oh. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. God damn it, YouTube. Get your shit sorted. So, yeah, I'm getting there. Realistically, what I could use right now is be nice to get 1,000 hours watch time. I don't have anything that's worth 1,000 hours watch time yet, but yeah, I'm almost a YouTube partner based on the subs right now, which is very comfortable. But my watch time is still pretty bad. I'm not even at 500 hours because I do short stuff. So I could use them. I wish that they would stop dicking around. But I already know why they do what they do. It's because they want people to succeed on YouTube. but they don't want everybody to succeed, or else, you know, the more people who succeed, the more they got to pay. So you got to tilt the deck. What is it? Tilt the deck. Damn it! I used to know this phrase. You got to tilt the table. There you go. A little bit in your favor. So I'm just hoping to. I wanted to try and get a YouTube partnership before the year's end, because I know the first hurdle is to get the partnership. The second hurdle is to actually maintain what you have, grow a little bit, and earn money. But these are separate problems. And because YouTube has gone after animation the way they have, even though it was unintentional, animators can't keep up with this stuff. Very few of them are fortunate enough to keep doing it, and the ones who have are usually the ones who've been doing it for 10 or so years. So they've built up just enough of that audience to keep going. And I'm still, because I've started over. Yep. Yeah, I gotta look for more watch time. I'm doing essentially more streams and stuff. I've actually got a Patreon account. I make a little bit of money off of it. I'm very thankful for what I make off of it. I just wish I could put out that one. I would have put out an original project like what I just did, and build up an audience around that if I could. That would be nice, because then I could say I built something on my own. But realistically, I know what it's going to come down to, and it's going to come down to me having to do a fan animation of some kind, because that's where all the audiences are. And since I'm also a screenwriter, I want to put out that really kick-ass short Toon that could essentially be like a movie pitch, even though I would never make a movie off somebody's IP, unless one, I had the perfect idea, or two, I didn't care, and I just said, "Fuck it, here. This is how you make a good video game adaptation." But I'm not experienced enough to do that yet. Dungeons in Debt helped me level up a little bit, which is really nice, because I did my first sword fight, even though it was very brief, and I think was it Red and the Skeleton only actually use their swords to fight against each other on one blow, because after that it's mostly her dodging and blocking stuff with her shield. So yeah. But yeah, a fan animation is probably going to be what it's going to take for me to get the watch time. So far, the only one I know that I have that would work pretty well would be Castlevania. The only problem with that is I'm not a huge Castlevania fan, and I know the fan base would not like the. I've got one lore change that I want to do, and I know that would chew people up, because it chews me up when I see video game adaptations making changes that I don't like. So yeah, I'd like to think I deserve more recognition, but I've screwed myself up and over several times, because I kept just having shit hit the fan and not being able to deal with it, and thinking, okay, it's easier to just start over. And it's not easy to start over and succeed anyways, but I'm getting there, because this is the first original Toon I've put out in years, and I know lots of you guys have said you want me to do some horror stuff. I don't think I've got more than one or two ideas that would work, but I could give it a shot. Oh yeah, I've actually been putting my stuff on Reddit. My stuff has never done well on Reddit. I've only ever had one video on Reddit actually do well, and it was me. It was I took there's a famous video called "Go Fuck Yourself," and it was by a guy who lived in a halfway house. He was trying to get his life in order, so he was there with other people who were addicts, and there was one guy there named Cuffy, And he did not like Cuffy. Cuffy didn't like him. Cuffy looks like he's drunk or high about a third of the time. So his catchphrase for Cuffy when Cuffy starts talking shit to him is "Go fuck yourself." And listening to how the guy talked, and listening to how Cuffy talked, because they both had accents. Cuffy sounded kind of like the Scout from TF2, only with a slightly deeper voice. And the guy in question sounded a little bit like the engineer, so I just did a tune with that and took about 30 seconds of their audio conversation and did that, posted on Reddit. I got 50,000 views, which is really cool. But since then, I've never been able to post anything on our videos and have people actually sit down and watch it and really appreciate it, because Reddit really just likes meme culture a little too much. Once in a while, I see other animators post stuff there, and it gets well received, and it's always comforting. But there's a trade-off with that, and that trade-off with that is those animators that do stuff like that, they usually have an ace up their sleeve. So there was one guy who did some animated video, and he got Brendan Gleeson to do a voice in it. He's an Irish actor. He's been in so much stuff. I don't think I can even name more than 3 of it, because he's been in everything else. But he's a fun actor to watch, because he can play just about anything. And so he got him to do the voice in it. Well, because he had somebody that people recognized voices Toon, people sat down and watched. And I'm a little envious of that, because I don't have anybody that I could do that with. The only person I ever had that I did that with was DC Douglas, when I did his 12 Days of Evil Resident Evil holiday tune. And I was going to do another one with him, but he kind of freaked out during the whole Gamergate thing from, what was that, 2015 or so? And I kind of realized, holy shit, this guy is actually kind of a lunatic. And it's disappointing, because I've heard lots of stories from other people who've gotten to know him and say he's not as nice as he seems, and he's kind of touchy with the women. But these are things I've heard. I can't confirm. With the exception of one of them was a woman who was his handler at an anime convention, because he does lots of voice acting for anything and everything. And yeah, he apparently gets a little more friendly than he should be with the ladies. So the bigger you are, the bigger you are getting a response with asking celebs, stuff like that. Yeah, well, here's the thing. I've actually had I've got a little bit of a pattern. So the first person I did some work for was DC Douglas. I put out one tune that I did in 17 days. I don't like the animation quality of it, because I wasn't as good of an animator then as I am now, so it's my nitpickiness. The second person I almost did some work for, this was 2 summers ago, was Barry Sobel, who used to work on Saturday Night Live. He's one of Tom Hanks's friends. He's got his own Instagram and things like that. And I was going to do a tune for him, and then things fell apart. And they fell apart partially because he's the type of person that needs somebody to physically be there while they draw and animate stuff, because he wants to direct it and say, no, I want the arm to be more like this, or I don't like that pose. Can you make it more dynamic? And he wants to physically kind of collaborate like that. The problem was I don't live in LA, so I couldn't be there. The other problem was, at the same time, I was still my grandfather's caretaker, and he had what looked like it was going to be a heart attack forming, because something was going on with him, and I had to drop everything to take care of him. So the only project I've got that I think might actually benefit me, because it's something different than what I would normally do, and it is a fan project. Is I wanted to do a Toon. I wanted to do an Evil Dead cartoon. Specifically, what if Evil Dead was a Saturday morning cartoon show? And while I was tempted to do it as if it was like a 1980s cartoon show, I don't think I can match that art style and stay sane. But the idea would be I wouldn't use any of the established Evil Dead characters. Don't need to bother. Bruce Campbell's got plenty of stuff other people bother him with. I don't think he needs to be bothered by me. So the idea was have a few original characters, do a pilot where you've got a cast of characters. They go to a cabin. They go and they find rather than go in and start from scratch where they find the book and everything. The idea would be they go to the cabin for a weekend party of some kind. I never went to any of that shit when I was in college, so I wouldn't know what it was like. But I know people would do stuff like that, so I can at least say, yeah, people do it, so I can make it up. But they go there they go to the cabin that they've rented, and they've got a problem. There's somebody still there, and the somebody still there is the person who rented the cabin the previous week. And yeah, they're supposed to be out of there, but they're not. And they're not out of there because they would essentially be arriving. They would essentially be the people who just got there would be arriving almost at the point in Evil Dead 2 where Ash has just cut off his hand. The house is the demon is driving him crazy, and then the other characters show up. So I would just kind of be starting at that point with a few original characters, and I wanted to try and do some of my own humor, which would still be, I could still do Evil Dead humor. You know, people getting sprayed in the face with blood and stuff like that is always fun. Oh, look at that! That actually came out pretty well. Here, close that off. Yeah. But it would probably be like a 4-minute Toon, and you know, because it's supposed to be like a Saturday morning cartoon, I would at the very least have the blood be green for the most part on the Deadites. But I've been thinking about that a lot more because it's a fun idea to just take something that you really love and run with it like that, and then have a few of your own characters in there because you can't. I don't think there's anybody who can match what Sam Raimi, Ivan Raimi, and Scott Spiegel, as well as Bruce, were able to create when they did Ash, because that's a once in a lifetime character. And yeah, even though it's not like Ash is a genius or we're dynamic, a character or the hardest thing to write, there's a certain way to do it, and there are more ways to do it wrong than there are right. So I was thinking that would be kind of a fun thing to do. Have 6 original characters, show up at the wrong place, the wrong time, and then mix in a little bit of situational comedy. Okay, wow. I actually got that shit right finally. So, because it's still too bare over there when I hit this type of a situation, I do this. So, I will give everyone a collab or something. Feel free to hit me up. No pressure. We'll see. I've only done 3 collaborations my whole YouTube career. So I'll have to think that over. I just get used to doing everything myself and I stop thinking. But it was nice talking to you. And thanks for hanging around. Let's see now. Can I make this right? Nope, I made it too crooked. It's because of the perspective I've got here, damn it. Yeah, I can't. I have to do something else now because this is locked into this perspective right here. So if I do anything, then I lose all that work. I will have to find something else to put there. But either way, so yeah, this is the first hurdle of the second Toon. I would probably be a little bit more. I'd probably be done with this shot by now, if circumstances were a little different. Yep, you have a good, see you later, Potato. You have a good day too, and good luck on your stuff. Ooh. So I think the next step that I'm going to have to do with this is stained glass, because you can see the colors in this shot are still purposely muted. It's meant to be this odd, slightly foreboding neutrality. And the way to get around that, outside of getting rid of the shadow there so I can judge stuff better, is do this. Because at one point I do have to put in some guild banners in the room as well, since the Heroes Guild is essentially kind of like a banking service. So stained glass, because if you see right there, it already looks a little bit better. I'm trying to remember how to do stained glass, and since I can't remember off the top of my head, you can see I'm just making it up as I go. So let me put a little bit of red here, there. Put some green in there, and there. Some yellow. And lastly, blue. And I hope this doesn't look too terrible. That looks pretty bad, but it does look like stained glass. I think I will put just a bit of purple in a few spots, because damn it, I used to when I was young and got dragged to church, I would always catch myself staring at the stained glass windows, just kind of studying the shape of everything. Look at that. Fuck, that looks like an acid trip. So when it gets to the point where it looks like it's going to be a little too much for me to use the line tool to do what I would normally do, I create a new layer and do this. So yeah, I am still looking at doing an Evil Dead Saturday morning TV show cartoon of some kind. And I wouldn't have any of the characters from the show or the movies in it, because you can't bother professional actors with a webisode Toon, even if it's just, you know, a one-off. Because one, if I actually say I actually did hire like an actor from who was in the movies and the show, like say Ted Raimi, I wouldn't want to say, by the way, I'm doing this fan animation. I can't afford to pay you, but you want to do it anyways? Or I can afford to pay you, but I can only afford to pay you $100, even though you've been an actor for 40 years. You interested? That's you gotta pay these guys a little bit more, especially when it's a project that isn't gonna make any money. Because it's, at the very least, you're showing some respect. See, that almost looks right. Almost. You can see it's still flat. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is I can't keep these colors. They are too bright, and they cause a little bit too much of conflict. However, there's a way around it. And so again, it's not a perfect solution. It's lazy man work. Whew. There we are. At the very least, this is kind of looking a little bit more like stained glass. So the reason it looks so flat is because I need to have a brighter color in the center. I mean, not the center, on the outskirts. This is kind of how I remember stained glass windows being. I'll have to double check it, my reference on that in a little bit. Oops, too much. There we go. So let's see what it looks like. Yeah, still doesn't look that great. Change that from 1 to 10. There we are. Now I can actually see what the fuck is going on here. Whew. Alright, almost done with the stained glass window stuff. Yeah, as I say, it's always doing 100 little things to make a big picture. Okay, I think that's it. So now I have an outline. Copy, boom. So, get. Thank you. Okay, so this is the outline for the stained glass. So that's really step 1. Now, there's... oh. Don't want that. Just need to correct a few of these here because I need to have enough room to add the outline. Gotta create that illusion of there being a glow. Thank you. Okay, I think that's just enough outline space. Just finish this last little bit up here with hell with it, we'll just put red in for now. I might correct it later. There we go. Done. Okay, very nice. And take a look at the finished project, well, product for a moment. Yes, okay, so this is absolutely the effect I wanted to get here. It's still not perfect. But you can see now we've got a little bit of life here to balance out everything else that's here. Although I think I have to change the stained glass outline color from black to a slightly softer gray. That'll do. So now comes the hard part. This is always the biggest problem that you run into when you do shading like this. Okay, that'll do. And so that is, you gotta make sure the outline works. So I've got this nice red here, and to balance that out, I gotta put a heavy red in. Damn, it's not dark enough. When stuff like this happens, I always question it. Put a dummy color in there for now. Put the light red there. Put the dark red right there. That works. It's not perfect. Nothing ever is. So because of how light usually hits the stained glass, it's kind of narrow around the edges. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to darken this red just a little bit more. There we go. There we go, that looks better. So now I just got to do that for all the red, and then I'm done with the red, and then I got to do it for the other colors. 100 little things to do before you're done. It always feels nice when you actually pull this off, even just a little bit, because it means you're doing the right thing. So after I finish the stained glass, I will be done with this little section of this shot, and then that'll be it for this shot, and then I'm going to go work on something else for just a little bit. I was hoping Mendo would pop up so I could have him guide me while I draw his character, but I'm guessing he's probably working too. I don't know, I guess I'm going to have to do a poll on what a good day to a good day and a good time to do a stream for you all is. Because I've had a little bit more luck on Sundays, but only a few people have stopped by today, so I'm guessing some of that is it's Father's Day. Some of it is that everyone has a life that they gotta stick to. So, and since I don't have a life, I can kind of do whatever for right now. Yeah, not having a life isn't always a bad thing. It's just not when you don't have a goal. That's when it starts getting you into trouble. Because the human brain is just a funny thing. It wants what it wants, and sometimes we're not always in control of it, even though we like to tell ourselves we are. In my case, my mind is usually on autopilot for stories and comics and stuff like that. I'm not always there to navigate either. It does it. Don't know why either. Ooh, look at that. That's looking good. Okay, we'll do green. Yeah, I know anybody who's watching this is thinking this is a shit ton of work to do for just a small detail in the shot. And it is. You know, there's no questioning that. It's just but it's all part of animation. And you know something? When you, especially in my case, when you're self-taught and you get this stuff right, especially if you get it right closer to your first try, it feels nice. It makes you question your abilities a little less. It's not specifically an ego boost per se, so much as a confidence boost where, okay, I can do this. It's yeah, it's still not the easiest thing in the world to do, but it's not impossible. Because I've got, especially in my case, because Jesus, I've got so many big projects in the back of my head that I'm starting to finally get around to doing. Now that I actually know how to do some more proper animation. And the idea is I don't want to have to spend three weeks on a shot or 2 weeks on a shot like I used to. I want to be able to get that shit done properly, and so it's there for everybody to enjoy. And so it's like when I did the sword fight scene in Dungeons in Debt. The nice thing about that was the first shot I did, which is only really three movements, and then for 2 characters each. So, you know, it's 3 different motions each, and then the shot ends. And that was a lot of work. That took me a week. And then when I did the second part of the shot where they're actually fighting with their swords, that was a lot more work, and I got that done almost in the same time. Because I want to do more sword fighting stuff with my toons, especially since I've got 2 characters who have swords that they use for different projects. And I can't help it. I'm a sucker for sword fighting. I could have done basic anime sword fighting, where it's mostly the characters swinging their swords wildly, and the emphasis is on the cut. But because I took fencing for several years, a long time ago, I really, really wanted to try and match the motions just a little bit. It's not perfect, but you match the motions, and it feels a little bit more sincere. It's a comforting feeling to pull that off, because Christ, I've got 1, 2, 3. I got like 3 big sword fights that I've had in my head for some various toons for 2 years. I mean, 2 years. No, not 2 years. No, for 10 years. Look at that. It's beautiful. I finally got that shit down. But I've had these shots, these sequences in my head, and I realized how much I just like a good sword fight, and I want to match what's in my head and make it look legit. But I also want to get a sense of urgency where in the shots it really looks like the characters are trying to kill each other. It's not play fighting. It's these fuckers want each other dead. Okay. We have a shot almost done. Get out of here, Red. So look at that. You can see I will still have to add a little bit more ridges to create the illusion of texture. But that stained glass window came out pretty solid. It's not perfect. Nothing's going to be perfect at this stage, but it looks nice. That's I know it's me tooting my own horn, trying to make my work look a little bit more professional. Every little thing you do counts. But if feels pretty good to pull off some of this stuff and get it done right. Oops. Just here checking the stats for Dungeons and Debt. Let's see, it says I am up to. Go to my analytics. Okay, 2,225 views. Whew. That's nice. Not to be too much of a pisser, but it'd be kind of nice if I could find a way to get an extra 1,000 views. Just because, so far from what I've estimated, with these shorts that I do, 1,000 views is roughly 10 hours or so of watch time. And so I've gotten 20 hours of watch time, which is fantastic. I still need more, and I don't quite know how to pull that off yet. Because there's, again, me figuring out that the only way to really get the big, that big score where I can get all the views I need to give me the watch time, I gotta put out that one project that's bigger than what I normally do. And it will have to be a fan project. Because nothing original is really working at the moment. At least not working as well as it should be. I don't know, I'm still surprised that that Dice and Joy Toon I did, that it made $5,000 in views as quick as it did. But there, okay. We've got ourselves a hint of texture. We've got a nice stained glass window. I'm not a fan of the carpet yet because of the lighting there. So there we go. That's what I wanted. So if I get rid of my lighting layer here. So this is a very flat color on the carpet, and I want it to look brighter. So because carpets always have that funny colory texture to them, I just have to put a different gradient shading on it to get the same effect. So gradients are very useful in Flash. The problem with gradients is they're limited, just a little bit, and so some of it comes to how you use them, because everything gets used a little differently. But there are ways you can use to cheat and create that illusion of texture or depth. And in this case, it doesn't take too much. It only takes a little bit. Okay. That's what I want. So, all I got to do is put the shading layer back on. This is going to be the area that gets the texture. So you can't see what I did there just yet because gradients in Flash and Animate require the gradient transform tool, which is this one right here. You click on it, you can see there's this funny circular outline. Well, if I shift it over, there's my gradient. So you can see I've got this inner circle here, which now creates just a little bit of the illusion of light. But it's very very faded, so it needs to be strengthened. So what I do is I adjust the gradient. So now it's a little bit stronger and heavier. And boom. There you go. Look at that. Now it looks like there's just a little bit of texture to that carpet. And I should probably consider doing the same for the stone floor. Stone is a bit trickier because everything has its own weird little light source that it's going to be reflecting. And you have to be careful because one, it takes a hell of a lot of time, and two, I'm not that experienced in it, which should be all the more reason for me to do some more. But I've already done so much for this shot already, and it's, the shot still isn't done. You know, I've got the stained glass, which, by the way, that glass is still a little light. So the way to get around it to make it look like it's actually glowing is you turn it into a symbol, go to Properties, and then I like to go to Tint. So yeah, if you, in this case, you give it a color. So in this case, I want it to look a little bit lighter, because this is it with 0 tint. This is it with partial tint. This is 100% tint. You don't want that. You don't want that, or that, or that. About like this is appropriate. It's not the most amazing show of color. Still works though. So here we go. This is almost done. And the first shot in a new Toon is always the hardest because my mind is reorganizing itself. But it's still pretty good. So right here, what essentially is going to end up happening is the collector will be seated right there. Red will be standing right there, or seated. I'm not sure what I want her to do yet. I'm thinking standing. I got to put a little bit more stuff on his desk, like some more documents and things like that. I got to add the painting back there. I haven't even decided what that's going to be yet, or how I'm going to do it. And I got to put something in, I got to put right there, and right there I got to put a guild banner of some kind, because again, this is meant to be kind of like a banker's office. And oh yeah, there's one last thing I need to do. So because I've introduced lighting here, we have a problem. The first problem is this carpet needs to have 2 sources of lighting onto it. It needs to be a little brighter here, because this is the light hitting it. It needs to be a little darker there, because this is where it would be blocked by the light. So again, since I am slightly lazy due to circumstances outside of my own control, I can cheat again for the umpteenth time in this video. So take that line, you can see it's dark right there, and hey, get over there, you son of a bitch. Oh, Flash, why you do this to me? Get over there. So there's one. You can see now it's just got a little bit more texture to it. And then right there. So both of these are dark, because I forgot to do this. There. So now to adjust it a little further, because this isn't quite lined up right there. That's good. That's good. So yeah, now we've got just a hint of texture there, although that's not bright enough, is it? You can just barely make it out. I don't want to barely make it out. I want it to stand out just a bit more. And I think I'm going to adjust this one's lighting just a hair more. There. And last but not least, I'm going to turn that into a symbol, and I'm going to add just a hair of a blur to it. Just so it meshes in a little bit. So right now blur is on 2. I'm going to put on 4. We're going to put it down to 2. Okay. Boom. That's it. Nope. Too small. Thank you. So this is the, I'm going to say 70% finished shot. So I I still have to add a guild banner here and a guild banner here. I gotta add the painting there. Then I gotta add the collector there, and then red here. So this is the opening shot of the second episode. You can see just enough of what type of a room you're in. It's cramped, it's a little dreary, kind of foreboding. But it gets the point across. So I think that's going to be it for today's stream, just because I'm still not 100%. And since I've seemed to have missed most of you guys anyways, and I'm kind of moving into snail's pace here, which is embarrassing as it is, because normally I get stuff done a little bit faster because I'm focused. That'll be it for this stream. So thanks to everybody who stopped by for a little bit and stuff like that. I'll do a makeup stream to this one. It's supposed to be a lot cooler here in a few days, which hopefully will make the difference, and then I can get my my focus back, because I like getting shit done. So that I will catch y'all later. Thanks for watching me, and thanks for everybody who sat down and watched episode 1 of Dungeons and in Debt. You earned your second episode. Actually, I think it was by the third day. You had just about everything down, and so I appreciate everybody taking the time to watch it. It really does mean a lot, especially considering everything else that's going on in my life. So it's nice to have a little success somewhere. So I'll let you guys know when I'm going to do another stream. Happy Father's Day, everybody, and good night.